Hello from New York.
Greetings from London.
Excellent. So we are starting the new first episode of the decade, and we are starting with hope and confidence, as you might expect. At the end of last year, we told you that our word of 2020 would be simplify. And the reason for that is because we can feel the pain and the headaches of the marketers overwhelmed by the increasing complexity of the media industry. So as we head into a new decade, what should media directors be thinking? And I mean, you've got to think there's a $500 billion industry out there waiting for you to have a point of view. And we want to encourage you for that to be one of confidence and clarity.
Yeah.
So mate, what is going on?
Well, kind of the second week of January should be the most exciting time of the year for any kind of brand leader that has a significant media and marketing budget at their disposal. So they're sitting there at the beginning of the year, budgets are full, they've got a clear set of KPIs, they've got management focus, which is kind of helping them, providing them with a mandate to drive business outcomes, business growth through brilliant deployment of media. And this should be the time when kind of media leaders and marketing leaders are kind of embracing the year. Normally though, they're sitting there and they're slightly terrified. They're terrified by perhaps the overwhelming nature of expectations on media as a discipline or as on marketing. Because as we've talked about in the past, media has never been higher on the corporate agenda. Media complexity often is intimidating rather than inspiring. And, they've got the focus of kind of senior leaders to watch them drive some form of business outcome through their decision making around kind of media. So it's that balance between a sense of excitement and optimism and perhaps a sense of trepidation given the overwhelming expectations on that kind of discipline. And what we're saying to marketeers going into 2020 is embrace that fear, is embrace that opportunity, look at the challenges of media, but adopt them as opportunities rather than things that should kind of terrify them. And with that, we're going to try and develop some form of a manifesto, a rallying cry to media leaders to help provide perhaps a North Star as they go through the year when things get a little bit difficult around kind of media decision making, to help them hopefully simplify, make the right decisions and drive growth through smarter media decision making. So Tom, after all that, what are the implications?
Well, I think you've answered a lot of it already, but the biggest one is that, as we talked about a lot before, media directors are always at risk of being spread too thin. Okay, we make a lot of reference to the fact that the role of the media director has really expanded a lot over the last 5 or 10 years into lots of adjacent parts of the business. And the media director in a large global corporate can be spread very thin across lots of different functions, plus having to have a very visible outside profile and working increasingly with increasing number of partners and vendors.
Yeah.
So the primary implication, or the risk, if you like, for the media director is being ineffective. So that means being really clear, 2 or 3 things that are key to your particular job role.
Yeah.
And in a global position, those will tend to be, things like, operational excellence. You've got to be the guardian of operational excellence. Once that's established, then really being the North Star for the business, having the clarity of vision and setting the narrative and the principles, not only for the way that media is invested, but the way as a company that you work with your external partners. There's also big implications, as we've talked a lot in the last few years. Every single media director pretty much is being asked by their organization, should we be doing this in-house? And that is, if that's a question that you haven't tackled already, that's, that you're going to have to kind of front up to that. In the conversations that we have with leading media directors, they're all of slightly different opinions, and it means that every business has to tackle that in a slightly different way. But there has to be this year real clarity, a vision of what that means. As you know, we talk a lot on Media Snack. We don't really like the idea or the word in-housing because that suggests that it's a zero-sum game. Really it's about figuring out what you can do, where it's a build or buy analysis, right? So what skills you should and capabilities you should be building inside your organization, and then how to complement that best with the right fit partners externally. If you haven't done that, that's going to be a big implication of the things that you look at this year. Our manifesto that you referenced, we're rooted in a principle called Media for Growth. As you probably, if you've followed ID Comms for the last 10 years, you know that that's been a key founding principle of our company, and it's been a key message, really an underlying message, if not explicit, in all of the videos that we've done as part of Media Snack, is that media is a source for growth. It is a lever for business growth. It is an investment in growth. It is not a cost to the business which needs to be cut. And if you believe in that, then this is the year really, truly to kind of put the pedal down and establish for your business that media is an investment in growth. And so that is, we hope, one of the biggest positive implications, I think, for the industry is when media leaders start to say and convince their businesses that media can be an investment and should be treated so. So if you're a media director and it's January 2020, what should you be thinking and what should you be doing now?
Okay, well, I think there are a couple of things that media directors should be focusing on now. The first is having a vision for media, being able to clearly articulate the role that media plays in delivering your business goal, your business outcome. Have a really clearly articulated ambition and vision for media that you can begin to communicate internally. That's the first thing. The second thing is keep media strategic. Don't allow it to become tactical. That's often the direction of travel as you go through the year. It becomes very executional, very administrative. Keep media at your level very, very kind of strategic, because then it links in directly to business strategy and often a business outcome. The third thing that I would encourage media directors and marketing leaders to do is make sure that they make the narrative, the language around media internally accessible, and that kind of feeds back into kind of our word of the year, which is simplify. So simplifying the language, the vocabulary around media to make it more relevant to the environment that you're dealing with on a daily basis. These are not media specialists. These are marketing and business peers of yours. So making sure that the language that you use around media is accessible to them. So vision, keep it strategic, language.
Good. And I would just add to that, it's January, it's the beginning of the year. It doesn't hurt to reach out both to your internal team, if you have an internal team, if you're lucky enough, and certainly to your external partners, to your agencies, your key vendors, all those kind of things, and reconfirm your vision. Share it with them really simply and tell them that you love them, because that's the best way to start the year. So on that bombshell, thank you very much for watching. So you can subscribe down below. This, as we've said, will be the beginning really of a longer manifesto for the year where media can be positioned as a source of growth, hopefully in your business and not just on our YouTube channel. But do reach out if you do need some help. That's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching.
See you next time.